Welcome back, class 12, to the online bio classes. We had already started chapter 7, that is evolution, in which we studied in the previous class about the different types or the theories of evolution given by Charles Darwin, that is Darwin theory of evolution, and the Lamarck's theory of evolution. Now today we are going to start the evidences from morphology and anatomy. You know what is morphology? Morphology is the study of external form and structure of an organism. And what is anatomy? The study of internal structure of an organism or its parts is called anatomy. Like anatomical study of heart, anatomical study of liver, all the organs which are present inside our body, its internal structure is called anatomy, and externally the form, the study of form and structure is called morphology. So it has been found that one word is there, tectology. Comparative morphology and anatomy is called, the word is used, tectology, T-E-C-T-O-L-O-G-Y, of individual organs and organ systems of different organisms, gives a relationship and provides us the evidence for evolution. Like the word, first word is homology and homologous organs. So what is the meaning of homo means similar, logy, those organs which are similar in structure. So organs that have different functions and they have similar embryonic origin, means they are born from one particular place in the embryo, and the development is also similar, and they have similar relationship with other organs are known as homologous organs. So what is homology? Homology means the relationship between two organs in which they show similarity in their origin and development. Okay? And the organs which are homologous in plants as well as animals, two examples we have to read according to the syllabus. Like I will give one example. For example, the arms of man, which is used for grasping, the leg of horse, which is used for running, the wings of birds, which are used for flying or a bat, and the flippers of a seal, which is used for swimming, all of them are the forelimbs which are modified to carry out different types of functions. Means the arms of man or the flippers of whale, all of them, they have a common origin. They are born from a particular place in their embryonic condition, but they carry out different types of functions. Like we use it for grasping the object, the horses use their forelimbs for running, whereas some of them use it for swimming. So although they are carrying different types of functions, the same forelimbs which has a common origin carrying out different types of functions, such organs are called homologous organs, and this type of function or the structure is called homology. Okay? Now next we have studied one more example of homologous organs, that is they are built on the same basic plan, that is pentadactyl plan. All of them have the different types of bones like humerus, ulna, radius, carpals, metacarpals, and the bones of the fingers which are called phalanges. Means although the forelimbs of all the different animals like that of horse, man, they have different functions to do, but all of them are built on the same basic plan, that is they have got pentadactyl plan. Penta means 5, dactyl means the limbs. All of them have the 5 bones which are present in them. Okay? So difference in the organs can be explained on the basis of adaptation to a special condition which is called divergent evolution. So homology indicates common ancestry. So homology means it is an indication of the organisms having a common ancestor. So common ancestry is indicated by homology. Means all those individuals which possess the homologous organs, they share a common ancestor. Okay? Similarly, the legs of all the insects, whichever insect you take, they are consist of 5 parts. Like if you see the different parts of the legs of insect, they are coxa, trochanter, femur, tibia, and tarsus. Yet they show many changes in the course of evolution. Like grasshopper, it is used for walking, the first and second legs, but the hind legs limbs are used for jumping. Similarly, The forelimbs of a mole cricket, they are used for digging, and the legs of hair louse, it is used to cling, that is stick to the hair. Now next, homologies are also found in the systems of different vertebrates. Like all vertebrates from fishes to man, they have a vertebral column which consists of, that is the backbone, which consists of many small vertebrae, that is 33 small vertebrae are present in our body. Similarly, all the mammals have got 7 cervical vertebrae, means in the neck region the number of vertebrae which is present is 7, and it is common in all the mammals. Now similarly, it may be a rabbit with an average neck, a whale with no neck. A whale has no neck, but then also the number of cervical vertebrae, although it has no neck, will be 7. Even if it is a fish also, 7 only. Even if it is a rabbit also, rabbit is also a mammal, it will have 7 vertebrae in the neck region or the cervical vertebrae. Now there are many examples of homologous organs in plants also. Like see one example, phylloclade of Opuntia. Examples of homologous organs. Two examples you should learn. Examples of homologous organs. In plants also, animals also. First, if you study in plants, what are the 2 examples? If it is asked to write, you will write phylloclade of Opuntia. Quickly here it is called. It is a desert or xerophytic plant. The spelling you can check. Phylloclade of Opuntia and cladode of Ruscus. Cladode of Ruscus. So these 2 show the homologous organs. Phylloclade of Opuntia and cladode of Ruscus plants. They are homologous and both are modified stems to perform the function of photosynthesis. So what is phylloclade and what is cladode? Both of them are modifications of stem which carry out the process of photosynthesis. Generally the leaves carry out the photosynthesis, but in this plant they are desert plants or xerophytic plants which grow in desert conditions. So leaves are modified or reduced to thorns. So it means the stem gets modified into a fleshy structure which is green in color, that carry out the process of photosynthesis, and the leaves are present just like the thorns. Okay, so these are the leaves which are thorns, whereas the stem becomes green and the one which store food and carry out the process of photosynthesis. So you can see in the picture also the diagram is given there. Now next one, similarly the thorns, this is the first example. The second example, 2 examples are asked, you have to learn in the for the syllabus. The second example of homologous organs in plants is the thorns of bougainvillea. Thorns of bougainvillea, you know the name of the plant. Spelling you can check, Bougainvillea, bougainvillea, and thorns of bougainvillea and the tendrils of passiflora. Tendril is the modification of stem. Tendrils of passiflora plant. So tendrils and thorns of, see, both the structures are different. One is thorn, the other is tendril. Tendril is the one which is soft and curly, which is just like a thread that will help the plant to climb onto a support. So both of them are modifications of the plant and they are carrying out different types of functions, but yet they are homologous, means they have a common ancestry. So both of them arise in axillary position and thus a modification of the branch only. Now next, the phenomena of homology is not only seen in the morphology but in the anatomy also. Like if you see at the molecular level, means if you study the molecular structure, you will find that the proteins present in the blood of man and the proteins which are present in the apes like monkeys and all, they are similar. So homology is based on divergent evolution. Now next, what is analogy? The first one is completed, homology. Homology means the common ancestry, it shows common ancestry. What are homologous organs? The organs which are different in functions but they have a similar embryonic origin and development are called homologous organs. If examples are asked, I gave you the example of the forearm of man, then the forelimbs the arms of man, the four limbs of horse, which is used for running, ours used for grasping, and the flippers of whales and the other mammals which are used for swimming, the wings of birds which are used for flying, all of them are homologous organs. So this is the example in case of mammals. In case of animals, the example in case of plants, these two examples you can learn. Okay, and one second example in case of animals you can give the one which I said, that is in case of insect. All the insects have different 5 parts in their body, and it is used for different purpose. Like insects can use their legs for clinging, like in case of head louse, or it can use it for different functions. So functions may be different, but their origin will be similar, means they are produced from the same place. Now next we have analogous organs. What is analogous organs? It's just opposite. What is analogy? Analogous organs means those organs which have different origin, means origin is different, but the function which they do, that is similar. Like take for an example, similarly one example I will give you, the dragonfly. The wings of insect like dragonfly, eagle, bat and pterodactyl. So analogous structures have convergent evolution. Homologous organs had what type of evolution? Divergent evolution. And this one has convergent evolution. So example I will give you directly, then you will understand. Wings of insects, birds, pterodactyls, which are the extinct reptiles, which are no longer they are present, and bats, they have the same function, means they use their wings for flying, but their wings are not similar to each other. Like see the wings of insect, it is made up of different material. The wings of birds, which is made up of feathers and the muscles, so they are different in their structure. They are different in their origin. Their origin is different, but yet they carry out the same functions. Those organs which are carrying out the same functions but have different origin are called analogous organs. And the examples already I said. Similarly, the fins of the fish and the flippers of whale, aquatic mammals like whales and seals, they have the same function. That is, they use it for swimming in water, but they have different, structurally they are different. The gills of fish and the crustaceans are also analogous organs. Okay, the sting of honeybee, more examples, and the sting of scorpions, they have same function, that is to sting their prey, but their origin is also different. They are also analogous structure, because they are, the sting of honeybee is a modification of ovipositor, and that of scorpion is a modification of their last abdominal segment, that is the segment or the part of their body, abdomen, you know. Another example of analogy is the eye of octopus and the mammals, they are different, or the flippers of penguins, flippers the one which they use for swimming, and the flippers of seals, that is the dolphins, penguins and dolphins. Both of them have different function. Penguins will not use it for the same function like the dolphins are using. Similarly, in case of plants, if you write the example, 2 examples, animals, many examples we give. In case of plants, the leaves of plants of cladodes or ruscus or asparagus are analogous structures. Why? Because they look similar, but they carry out different functions. Morphologically, they are different functions, different structures. Similarly, the second example, the tendril of vine, that is beetroot, and the tendril of pea plant, which is pisum, they are structurally and functionally similar, but are morphologically different structures. So, former is a stem, and the latter is a leaf nature. Similarly, one more example you can give, the last example of plants one, sweet potato, it is a modification of root, and the potato which we eat, it is an underground modification of stem. So one is stem, the other is root, but both of them are growing underground, so that is also an example of analogous organs. Understood now? Now next is vestigial organs. What are vestigial organs? The organs which are present in the present organisms or the today's organisms, which are not functional at all, but in their ancestors those organs were functional, they were doing some work, are called vestigial organs. They were functional in their ancestors and the related animals. Now some examples of vestigial organs you can say. Example you can say index finger in the bird's wings. Okay? The splint bones in the feet of horse. And the functionless eye of many burrowing animals. Many burrowing animals means the animals which dig out the soil to make their holes. That is to get their homes or habitat. Their eye is functionless. Rudimentary pelvis and the limbs in some snakes. Like snakes do not have limbs. Although it is there, it is functionless. They are not using their limbs, that is the legs, for walking. Snakes are limbless. Similarly, the wings in kiwi and ostrich, both of them are flightless birds, the birds that cannot fly. So although they have the wings, those wings are not helping them to fly. Why? Because it is a rudimentary organ. The human alone has 100 vestigial organs in our body. We have hundreds of vestigial organs like nictitating membrane in the eye, appendix at the end of the caecum. Caecum is the part of the large intestine, caecum, colon, rectum. 3 parts of the large intestine. Then the coccyx, that is the tail vertebrae, the last bone of the backbone. The last one is called the tail vertebrae. It is not functional. In our ancestors it was functional because it is said that we evolved from apes. So apes were our ancestors. It means they had the tail. From that tailbone or the coccyx, the tail will arise. But since we do not have the tail now, so it means now it is functionless. But it was functional in our ancestors. And the segmented muscles of abdomen, the one we saw, the biceps, different types of like packs, 4-pack, 5-packs, we say body pack. No. So different types of muscles of the abdomen and the nipple in males, it is not functional because it is not producing milk. So these are the remnants of the organs which were functional in the ancestors, but now they are functionless. Now scale leaves, in case of plants also you can give some examples of these vestigial organs, like the scale leaves of ruscus and those of stems are the examples of vestigial structures found in plants. Those scale leaves have no functions in the plants. Now next one is, what is connecting link? Try to learn the definition of connecting link along with 1 or 2 examples also. So what is connecting link? Connecting link is those living animals. Remember, the word is living, I said, not dead. Means the animals which are living now also they are present, and they show that there is relationship between 2 groups of organisms. They are living. First condition is those animals are living and they are showing a relationship between 2 groups of animals, that is called the connecting links. Example I will say, then you will understand. Such examples, lungfish and egg-laying mammals are examples of connecting links. Generally all the mammals reproduce by giving birth to their young ones, but there are certain exceptions. Some mammals like duck-billed platypus, they reproduce by laying eggs. It means they show that mammals have evolved from egg-laying animals. So egg-laying animals means from the reptiles they have evolved, isn't it? So the lungfish, which is Protopterus, is a link between the fish and the amphibians. Generally, fishes breathe with the help of their gills, not with the lungs. But there is a lungfish which is present now also. It is not extinct. So what does that lungfish, the scientific name is Protopterus, it is a connecting link between the fishes and the reptiles, amphibians. So it shows that from the amphibians the fishes have evolved. On the other hand, it possesses paired fins, dermal scales and gills like other fish. And it has 3-chambered heart and lungs for breathing like amphibians. Means the characters of amphibians as well as that of the fishes are present in the lungfish. So lungfish provides a stage through which amphibians could have evolved. Okay. Similarly, the egg-laying mammals like spiny anteater and duck-billed platypus, it is a link between the mammals and the reptiles. So they show characters of both of them. Got it now? So what is connecting link? If it is asked, you will write, it is a living animal that show characters of two groups of animals. Okay, example you can give lungfish and the egg-laying mammals like duckbill, platypus, and spiny anteater. Okay. Now next we have atavism. What is atavism? Atavism means sudden appearance of ancestral characters in an organism. Like all of a sudden, in any generation, like today also it may be possible that in the news you may get sometimes that a particular child is born with a tail and all the people are going to worship because they think he the reincarnation of what we say Lord Mahavir, this one what we say Hanumanji, that Hanumanji is born. It is the rebirth of Hanumanji. It's not possible that God has been reinformed there in that particular individual. It is called atavism. Like all of a sudden, in any generation, a person may be born with a short tail. So that is called atavism. It's not that the God has appeared. Okay. So next one is evidences from embryology. The next topic we have to do. Okay, now next topic I have given evidences from embryology. Evidence means what proof I am giving from the embryo that there is evolution of organisms from their embryonic condition. So what is the meaning of embryology? The study of development of embryo is called embryology. What is embryo? Like you know that the eggs will develop into a baby organism. So this development of eggs up to development of an organism starting from the eggs to the adult is called embryology. So if you compare the embryos of different vertebrates, you will find that they show similarity in their embryonic stage. Like if you see the embryo of a human being, embryo of a chick, of a frog, of a different organism, all of them will show similar structure, and you may not be able to distinguish that this is the embryo of frog, or this one is of mammal, or this one is of human being, or this one is of bird. They are almost similar. So this shows that all of them have a common origin. Those vertebrates, since their embryos are similar to each other, it means all of them evolved or they came from a common ancestor. I will give you some examples to make it more clear. Like the embryos of fish, salamander, turtle, bird, duck, or humans, at the same stage, they resemble so closely that it is difficult to distinguish between them. They have more or less the same structures. So such resemblance of structures is a clear proof of evolution, which indicates that these forms have evolved from a common ancestor. For example, a chordate begins its life from a single cell, that is zygote, which by mitotic division it forms many cell stages like morula, blastula, gastrula, and different organ systems will develop. So after gastrula stage, the further stage of development till gastrula stage, the stage of development of embryo is almost similar in all the vertebrates. After that it differs. So embryos of all the vertebrates, they develop two structures which is quite common. Notochord, which is a rod-like flexible structure which is present in all the vertebrates, and gill cleft. So this gill cleft will become functional in some of the organisms, in others it will be disorganized or dismantle itself. It is non-functional. But notochord is partly or fully replaced by backbone, which is called vertebral column. So we also have vertebral column now. The presence of vertebral column indicates that we had a notochord in our embryonic stage. Similarly, the gill cleft, it grows in the adults of some amphibians and all reptiles, birds, as well as in mammals. So this similarity in embryonic development indicates that evolution of vertebrates took place from a common ancestor. Similarly, development of different organs like heart, brain, ear in vertebrates has a common ancestry. So heart during the development, how it occurred you can see. In birds and mammals, it passed through the two chamber. First it was two chamber, then three chambered stage before becoming four chamber. You know that birds and human beings have four chambered heart. But how it became four chambered? Earlier it was two chambered, then three chambered, then became four chambered. This suggests that both birds and mammals have originated from fish, which had a two chambered heart, through amphibians, which had three chambered heart, and reptiles, which have incomplete four chambered heart, to complete four chambered heart. To see how the evolution occurred of four chambered heart. Okay. Now next one is recapitulation theory. This one is very important to understand. On this basis of developmental history, means when the development history of all the animals was studied, a scientist called Ernest Haeckel in the year 1866. Who is the name of that scientist is Ernest Haeckel. Okay, spelling you should write correctly, Haeckel. Ernest Haeckel, Haeckel, in 1866 postulated a theory which is called, the name of the theory is recapitulation theory. Recapitulation theory. Also known as theory of or biogenetic law. Biogenetic law. So what does this biogenetic law or recapitulation theory, both are same only, which was given by Ernest Haeckel in 1866 says, he said the word ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. I'll just stress on that word, ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Ontogeny, phylogeny, two words, recapitulates, repeats. Recapitulates means repeats. So what is the meaning of this ontogeny? Ontogeny means it stands for embryonic development of an organism. Embryonic development of an organism. Okay, what is the meaning of phylogeny? Phylogeny means evolutionary history of the race. Evolutionary history of the race. Okay, try to understand what is the meaning of this one. Means ontogeny means embryonic development, repeats the evolutionary history of the race. Means suppose we are there now. When we are married, the child which is born by that organism, in the embryonic stage, it will repeat all those conditions of that history, of that race, which was present in their ancestors also. Like if you see the mammalian embryo, the mammalian embryo will remain the same. It will repeat the same conditions as that of their parents. So if their parents had the similar type of embryo, the same embryonic conditions will be repeated again and again in the life cycle of that organism. Means when they will produce the child. So that is the meaning. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. I will make it more clear. This simply means that the embryos in their development repeat the evolutionary history of their ancestors in the abbreviated form. Means parents were there, so their embryo, how it developed when they were in the embryonic form. When their children were formed, again those children in their embryonic stage repeated the same condition of their parents, and their parents repeated the same condition of their parents. In this way, the development of the organism is repeated again and again at the embryonic level. Got it now? So that is the meaning. Ontogeny recapitulates means repeats phylogeny. So a tadpole of a frog is fish-like in the presence of a compressed tail with tail fins, gills, first external and then internal gill slits, and the line of system which is called the sense organs. It is a clear evidence that amphibians have evolved from some fish-like ancestors. It means amphibians came from aquatic fish-like animals. Their ancestry is from the fish-like organisms. One more example is there. The human infant, like a human child, show ancestral simian characters. What type of characters is shown by the human child? Like feet deflected inward, the legs which are there, it is deflected inward, inside, and their soles are facing each other. They have the long arms, they have the power of grasping things with their hands, and an abdomen with legs joined at an angle. So recapitulation of ancestral form during development occurs in plants also. One example I will say in plants also, where this one applies, ontogeny, recapitulus, phylogeny, is the protonema. What is protonema? It is the name of an early stage of development, and this is common in the plants like mosses and ferns, gametophyte. So it resembles the green algae in structure, physiology and growth pattern. So what does it indicate? It indicates or suggests that algae is the ancestor of bryophytes and pteridophytes. So from algae only the bryophytes and pteridophytes plants have evolved. This suggests, okay, that protonema, this structure. So primitive gymnosperms like cycas and ginkgo, both of them have flagellated sperms, the sperms which can swim. This indicates that gymnosperms have developed or descended from pteridophyte-like organisms. So from pteridophyte came the gymnosperms. So see how the ancestry is related of different organisms. In angiosperm also it is same. Now next is evidence from cell biology and biochemistry. Okay, so that we can do in the next class or in the interactive class. Let's see if today or tomorrow I will conduct that interactive class. So be present so that we can complete the chapter. Thank you.